but they are some of the smelliest builds in the entire.
I got called smelly by TierZoo. So I'm not technically a grizzly bear, but I figured it would be interesting to see if one of my relatives even has a chance against a silverback gorilla. So let's watch this.
The silverback gorilla and the grizzly bear, two of the most fearsome builds in the game. Because they're not playable in the same servers, the question of which of these is more powerful, or specifically which one would win in 1v1 combat, is a common subject of debate on the game's forums. So today we're going to delve into the stats and abilities of both of these powerful builds, and determine which one would come out on top in a deathmatch. Let's start with the gorilla. In my primate tier list video, I ranked the gorilla as S tier.
This is a spoiler. I haven't watched this one yet.
And it was the only primate other than the human to get that top tier rank.
Wait. Oh my gosh. See, look at those spoilers.
And there's good reason for this. Just have a look at this thing's base stats. The gorilla is easily the most powerful of all the primates, with a power stat well beyond most mammal builds within its weight class. Its arms allow it to climb trees with ease, and keep in mind, they do this without investing in any of the perks which make climbing easier, like cling pads or hooked claws. No, gorillas do this on strength alone.
They are really beefy too.
And they still make it look easy. And so it should go without saying that those arms can also toss most other players around like a ragdoll, and can dish out some serious damage in a short flurry of blows. Gorillas also have massive canine teeth, and although these are mostly for intimidation, they can act as an extra damage-dealing attack option if the situation calls for it. Mobility-wise, they move surprisingly quick given how short their back legs are. While not great at distance running, their burst movement potential is shockingly high. Defensively, gorillas don't have much to talk about. Their thick hide and bulky muscles offer some protection.
I think this is the longest I've ever looked at gorillas on a video. They kind of look goofy when they run, but other than that, like, sort of interesting. I don't know. I've never really thought about gorillas.
But with only skin and fur covering their exterior, most attacks will be effective against them. Luckily, their large size gives them a pretty generous hit point pool, so they should be able to tank a decent amount of hits in a pinch. Stealth-wise, gorillas are above average. Their coloration works pretty well in dense forests, although not as well as true camouflage patterns would. Because they walk on their hands and feet rather than hooves, they can move much more quietly than most herbivores, although not quite as silently as builds with padded paws and retractable claws. And finally, intelligence-wise, gorillas are far above average. Their complex social structure requires significant investment to the intelligence skill tree in order to unlock it. And in doing so, gorillas also gained access to basic tool use and team tactics. The most common tool use tactic seen in gorillas is the use of sticks and rocks in order to more effectively dig out termites from their mounds. Next, let's switch over to the brown bear.
Bear! Oh, I love bears.
In my bear tier list, I rated the brown bear at the low end of S tier. Taking a look at its stats, we can immediately see just how overpowered this thing is. Although not quite as powerful as the polar bear.
Polar bears are scary, but it kind of makes sense because the environment they're in kind of makes them like that. They would not survive otherwise, right?
It's still one of the strongest carnivorous mammal builds in the entire game. One of the few that is able to take down builds like the moose, bison, and elk.
Which is insane. Like, I just seeing this, I'm definitely not a brown bear. Like, I could not.
Solo. Its power stat is just crazy high, mostly due to the insane damage a bear can dish out using its claw swipe attack. It's not uncommon for a single swipe from a grizzly to one-hit most players, as it deals both blunt force damage and slashing damage in no small amount. Unlike the gorilla, bears also regularly use their teeth in combat, rather than just for intimidation, and in this aspect they excel as well. Defensively, the brown bear is quite sturdy. It has thick, loose skin, similar to the honey badger, which allows it to absorb serious blows without taking too much damage to their vitals. And with an HP stat similar to the gorilla, even if their opponents do score a critical hit, it's unlikely to mean an immediate game over. Stealth-wise, brown bears fare a little worse than the gorilla. Bears may not stick out that much visually, but they are some of the smelliest builds in the entire
I got called smelly by TierZoo! No!
game, to the point where their odor often gives away their position long before they're detected via eyesight.
No!
Luckily for the brown bear, its incredible movement speed and endurance can allow it to close the distance on fleeing players, even if they get a head start fleeing from the bear's scent. With a top speed roughly similar to a horse, very few builds can reliably escape a charging
Dude
bear,
is
especially
zooming.
given that bears can climb without issue as well. For those keeping track, this puts the bear's stats pretty much all either above or equal to the gorillas with the exception of stealth. Of course, there's one stat we still haven't discussed yet, the bear's intelligence. When it comes to the gorilla versus grizzly debate, one thing that's often brought up is that the gorilla should be able to use its intelligence to easily outsmart the bear and gain a significant upper hand. Unfortunately for the gorilla, I vehemently disagree with this assessment. Not because gorillas aren't smart, but because bears are not dumb. A common quote you hear from human park ranger builds is that there's a great deal of overlap between the intelligence of the smartest bears and the dumbest humans.
I think that that's good enough for me. I will have to show this video to my Twitch chat so that they can stop calling me dumb!
To the point where designing an effective bear-proof storage container is often impossible because it will also keep out a good number of humans it was meant to be used by.
Hi guys, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you!
Bears are the most intelligent of all carnivoran builds, smarter than cats, dogs, weasels, foxes, seals, and hyenas. Their giant brains are a necessity in order to memorize key points of interest across their vast territories.
See? Giant brain. Just saying. That's me. I have this giant brain. Thank you. You're really glazing me. I love it.
And for them to strategize how to access the best quality loot. This isn't to say the grizzly bear is going to invent some galaxy-brained gorilla trap on the spot or anything, but neither is the gorilla. Gorillas are incredibly intelligent builds for sure, but their intelligence manifests in their complex social dynamics and their tool use. In this scenario, it's 1v1, so the social dynamics is a non-factor. That just leaves their tool use, and in this regard, I think most players drastically overestimate the gorilla's abilities. Gorillas are not supreme bushcraft weaponsmiths. In fact, their use of weapons at all is almost non-existent in the gorilla player base. They will use rocks to more efficiently access insect larvae, but as for personal defense, the only strategy gorillas have access to is the intimidation-based technique of tossing debris in an adversary's general direction. When done in groups, this is extremely effective, and is often how a party of gorillas will ward off an approaching leopard in their natural ecosystem. But 1 versus 1 versus a bear, there is no way this would be enough to deter an attack. The bear's own high intelligence would give it a high chance to resist the intimidation effect, and once the bear has closed the distance, the bear is winning this fight at least 95% of the time. The gorilla would need not one, but several critical hits in a row to successfully take down a bear. Meanwhile, the bear would only need a few good bites and swipes before it's game over for the gorilla.
So the bear would win! Ha! Take that, gorilla!
So ultimately, that's how I think this matchup
Yes!
would go. Admittedly, I think it's a bit unfair to set up a scenario where the gorilla's most powerful ability is taken off the table, but the bear remains completely untouched. But that's the downside of investing in team tactics. If you ever find yourself caught off guard with no allies nearby, you might lose battles that you should otherwise at least have a fighting chance in. If you find this analysis unsatisfactory, we can approach it another way, which would be to take a look at their matchup spread, and see if we can find any easy comparisons. While gorillas and bears never encounter each other in the wild and have no experience fighting each other, both the gorilla and the brown bear need to contend with big cats. While obviously not in North America, on other servers, brown bears actually sometimes share hunting territory with the tiger. This is the largest big cat build in existence, one which is powerful enough to, on rare occasion, take down rhinos and elephants solo. Matchups between bears and tigers tend to be pretty even, while there are recorded instances of tigers defeating.
God, what is this bear? I think we saw it in another bear video. Ooh, was it the moon bear or something? Like a really feisty one.
Bears and bears defeating tigers. Generally, these matchups tend to end in stalemates, where neither player is truly defeated. However, when we take a look at the gorilla's matchup spread against its most common big cat opponent, the leopard, we see that the gorillas actually tend to lose this matchup. Leopards are far less powerful than tigers, yet nonetheless, even a leopard can score kills on gorillas. I think this is more a function of the difference in the bear and gorilla's defensive stats than its offensive stats. Even with its above-average constitution stats, the gorilla's low defenses make it too much of a glass cannon, and in a massive slugfest fight like the subject of this video, the inability to absorb a lot of damage is an absolutely crippling disadvantage. No joke, I get this question at least once a week. It's to the point where if someone DMs me saying, I have a question, I just answer, the bear wins. And like 50% of the time, that's all they need. Now you know why. Hopefully you see me as an unbiased and trustworthy source for the—
Yes. So, I will say, it kind of makes sense. If the gorilla is going more for team tactics and he just does not have a team here, then yeah, he's just gonna lose, and that's okay. If the gorilla had its team, they would probably win against the bear. Either way, I'm a winner and the gorilla is a loser. That's just how it is, you know?